Well, after 3 long weeks, we're finally here. Welcome to the final week of the post-Shriek Out reaction for 2020. And this week's theme is kind of interesting in the fact that we have a theme this week. Normally, in the final week of the post-Shriek Out reaction, we just do whatever we want to do, but that's normally because the final week isn't an actual full week. But this week, it is a full week, so I thought, maybe we should do a theme, but nah, I'm just gonna go ahead and review whatever I want to do. But then you throw out the idea that we have this theme be werewolves because Halloween is falling on a full moon, and I looked it up, and that only happens once every 19 years. So automatically, we already have a full week at the end of October, which only happens once every 6, 7, 8 years, depending on how leap year falls. And then you have another event that happens only once every 19 years. This is probably the only time in my lifetime those two things are actually going to line up. So, yeah, let's go ahead and have a theme, and the theme is going to be werewolves. I'm Aaron.
I'm Michelle.
This is our own little wolf creature thing that ruins our lives. Hey, Peach. No, we love you, Peach.
Yeah.
She wants to get over here.
She wants to get on your lap.
Yep.
She wants to get on the big lap.
Yep, she likes the big lap. Okay. Alright, and she likes the big teeth. Jeez, what big teeth you have, Peach. So we're going to start this off by talking about the Wolfman, the original 1940s Universal Monster classic. Every single year when we do the post-Shriek Out reaction, someone always says, why don't you guys talk about some of the classic Universal monsters? Why don't you talk about some of those films? So we are finally going to do that. There have been multiple remakes of the Wolfman, so I was tempted to do one of those, but I figured if we're going to kick all this off, we should kick it off with the classic, where it all began. And it has been a long time since I've seen this. I saw this, you didn't.
No.
It's been a long time since I've seen this. I think I was like 12 years old the last time that I saw this. So it was good to get a refresher. It was good to like see this again with fresh eyes. But it was also kind of interesting to watch this with like now the 2020 mindset, and I don't just mean like, you know, the horrible year that is 2020. I just mean like modern day eyes. Because there's a lot of things in this film that don't really hold up, and I've seen a lot of the other Universal films recently in past years. It's, as I said, this is the one that's probably been the longest since I watched this film, and there's so many things I was watching this going, oh, that wouldn't fly today. Oh, no. Because what this film is about is about Larry Talbot, which, it's so weird to me that this film is about a guy who's going back to some European country, you know, that country that all the things in films back in the 1940s happened in. Because so many films, especially monster films in the 1940s, they're like, well, where's a scary place that we can go to? A scary place that nobody really knows anything about. But still, we don't have to change up our cast at all. Unnamed European country, yes. So he's going back to this unnamed European country, and his family owns this massive estate there, and his father is very noble and upstanding, and it's just weird to me thinking that the son of this big noble estate is named Larry. Just this very common, like, average Joe name, just this normal guy name. It's like, hi, I'm Larry, the Dutch of Make-Believe Land.
The Duke.
The Duke, whatever.
Dutch is for females.
Yes, thank you. So he goes back to this home, which, one thing that I'm going to geek out on video games here for a second. One thing I had completely forgotten about this game is, one thing I had completely forgotten about this movie is that Larry's father's name is John. So his father's name is John Talbot. Now, for anybody who is aware of 1990s Capcom fighting games, there was a game called Darkstalkers, which was a fighting game all about monsters, and I love that game, and I still to this day hope they make a new one, and they're not going to.
Wearing the shirt right now.
I'm wearing a Darkstalkers shirt right now in honor of this, yes. By the way, Capcom, make more Darkstalkers merch. In fact, anybody make more Darkstalkers merch. The only shirt I could find was a Hisinko one, and I don't even play Hisinko, but I was like, I'll take it. But I'm bringing this up because in that game, there is a werewolf. That's one of the characters you can play as, and the werewolf's name is John Talbane. I'm like, oh my, like I had that moment watching this, like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that's where this came from. Oh, it's really dope. Yeah, they named John Talbane after the dad in the Wolfman film. That's actually really cool. So anyway, back to this movie. But Larry moves back here to his family's estate, and they've got this room with a giant telescope in it, and he goes up there, and he starts looking around the town, and then he just spies on this woman in her home. Like, yeah, okay, automatically, like, ooh, I don't know about that. And he starts automatically spying on her. And he sees her like putting on earrings and stuff, and then she goes downstairs to the shop that she works at, and he goes into that shop and starts asking, yeah, I'm looking for a pair of earrings. And he starts describing the earrings that she was wearing, and then she goes, oh, I'm sorry, I don't believe that we have anything like that. It's like, oh, I know that you do. I've seen that you have that exact pair. And she goes, how do you know that I have that exact pair? And his line is actually kind of a smooth line if you delivered it in any other circumstance. But he says, "Oh, I'm psychic. You see, I see a beautiful woman, and I instantly know everything about her, just like that." See, now that would be kind of be a decent line if you were like at the bar and asked to buy someone a drink, and they said yes, and then you just happened to guess their favorite drink in the world. Like, that would be like, okay, that would be not bad. But when you've been spying on a woman in her home, and then you're now using that information to try and pick her up. And here's the thing, I know some people are going to say, well, yeah, but it was the 1940s, so it was a different time back then. It was only really a different time because film and television told us that stuff was okay when it never was. But this is the thing that gets me so much about this. He is telling her, he's like, yeah, well, I'm definitely going to take you out on a date. And she goes, no. And he goes, oh, I'll be here at 8 o'clock to pick you up. No, you will not. She keeps telling him, no, do not do this. I don't want to, like, not even playing around, not being coy, like, oh, well, maybe. No, she just loud saying, no. Don't, and like you can tell when he guesses her earrings and it's like, oh, I know, I've seen you wearing them. When he says stuff like that, you can tell she's even like visibly shaken a little bit by it. So even in the world of this film, he's kind of being an asshole. He's kind of already being a dick about this. But it's so weird because the film still tries to make him seem smooth and like we should like him, while the woman he's hitting on is so clearly like, No,
we're supposed to be rooting for him and think that the woman is just being like really stuck up and mean.
Oh God, you're right. That is what it was. Thanks, 1940s. So yeah, it is kind of odd. But then eventually we find out that she's engaged to someone else, and he's still going out. It's like, Jesus, man, come on. But they go out to, and here's the second way in which this film did not age well. They keep talking about how this town, there's a traveling gang of, I apologize for using this, but this is what they keep saying in the film. There's a traveling gang of gypsies that keep roaming through town. And like, man, they will use that word a lot. And now, in 2020, we know, oh yeah, that's actually not, like, that's a bad word. Like, that's actually not what they're called. That's just the name that white people gave them to try and, like, diminish them. And, ooh, yeah, no. Oh, man, no, that's, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't even watch Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame anymore because they use that word, and it's
that
really,
film wasn't even made that long ago.
No, it was like in the 90s, like
yeah, ooh,
like the late mid-90s. It's just, ooh, that's awkward.
Yeah, it is. It's ooh, man. But yeah, so you're watching this line, it's like, oh, here's thing number 2 that did not age well about this. So they go, one night they decide to go out and they get their fortune read, and it's Larry, Gwen, the girl that he's hitting on, and Gwen's friend, who will not be important after this scene. They go there, and the fortune teller, who is named Bella, and is played by Bela Lugosi, he reads the palm of Gwen's friend, and goes, you must get out of here. You must get out of here. Which, by the way, Gwen's friend's number 1 question is, when will I get married? And it's like, wow. So women at this time, like, literally the only reason that Gwen wouldn't go out with him was because she was already about to get married. Gwen's friend wants to get married. It's like, all right. Nobody has, like, their own goals outside of marriage. Nope. Okay, cool.
Women couldn't really do much back then, so they didn't.
The 1940s, yeah,
they had
exactly.
very limited options.
Exactly. You okay there, buddy? Oh, big slinky dog just falling backwards. Okay. But so Belle's like, you gotta get out of here. and then Gwen's friend ends up being attacked and killed by a wolf. Larry goes and fights the wolf off, but he ends up getting bitten. Which, by the way, this film, it really... All right, Peach, you gotta go down. You're scoring too much.
Yeah, you gotta...
You're being distracting, buddy.
You gotta chill, Peach.
All right. And Peach was never seen again. Although she's gonna be heard down there. So, he ends up going, he gets bitten, turns into the werewolf, all that stuff. We all know how this story plays out. But I will say... the stuff that I enjoyed about this film, watching it this time, you know, when I was a kid and I watched this, I just wanted to see the Wolfman. I think that's why I didn't really return to this one that much. The Wolfman is not featured much in this film because a lot more of this film is focusing on Larry and, like, not really even guilt that he's feeling, but the pressure that he's feeling from the situation that he's in. And as a kid, I was like, I just want to see the werewolf. And the werewolf, it doesn't even look cool in this film. It's just a hairy man.
Yeah, that was always, like, my issue with the Wolfman. Is like, he didn't really look like a wolf. He didn't have the snout and everything, and the ears. So.
Which I know that I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know right now. The other reason why I wanted to do Werewolf Week this week, werewolves were always my favorite monster growing up.
Yeah, same here.
They were absolutely my favorite monster. And so I do know that when it comes to werewolves, there are two different distinguishing styles of wolfmen. There's the Wolfman, which is the man that's just really hairy, and then there's the werewolf, which is the, like, you know, big snout, big hunching shoulders, all that stuff. So there is a distinction between the two, and this is called the Wolfman, so it does match up. But what the hell was I about to say? But yeah, so when I was a kid, I watched this, I was like, well, the Wolfman isn't all that cool, and he's barely in this thing. I don't really care about this at all. Watching it now as an adult who appreciates things other than just, hey, big monster, I liked a lot more things in this film. And I actually think this film is pretty darn smart with how it plays with Larry. There is a scene in here where they go to a carnival, and Larry is there with Gwen and Gwen's fiancé, and there is a shooting gallery, and Larry goes up to it, and he takes a gun, and he's just hitting every single thing that pops up, and people are, like, amazed by, wow, this guy's actually a really good shot. Then a little wolf pops up, and he just stares at, and he can't do anything, and then Gwen's fiancé goes, what's the matter, I got cold feet? And then he takes his gun and just instantly shoots it. I went, that's a really good scene. That is a man, that sets up the rest of this film so well. I absolutely love that scene. It's my favorite scene in this entire film. Just because of, like, how you can see Larry, he's so focused on other things right now, trying to think about anything else, and then just the reminder of what's going on to him just pops up there, and he's just frozen. But everyone around him just like, oh, I have no idea about what you're going through. Here, anyway, murder wolf, like, right in front of him. Yeah, I love that sequence. I will say, though, as soon as that sequence is over with, I don't think Larry's husband is seen throughout the rest of this film. Maybe he is, but this was a film in which every single man wore fedora hats and jackets, and they all spoke in the exact same way. So there are scenes at the end of this where everybody is chasing the Wolfman. He could have been in there and just blended in with everyone else.
Well, that's what it was like in the 40s.
Yeah, exactly. So like I said, he could have been in the rest of this film, but after that point, he just blends in with everyone. But after that scene, her fiance leaves, and he's like, so where'd your fiance go? And he goes, oh, we got into an argument, and then the two of them just, like, start making out, like, 5 minutes later. And I was just like, yeah, she's kind of just here to be a thing that you are concerned about. But, again, it's 1940s and it's a monster film. The female character was always there to be the thing that the monster kind of, like, goes after. And it was kind of refreshing watching it this way for it to be a situation where we don't have to fear that the monster is going after the woman, but it is more of, like, the romantic struggle with I'm becoming the monster and I can't be near you. That was very different for the time, and I appreciate that, because you think about, like, you know, Frankenstein, Frankenstein wasn't in that one, but Dracula, the Mummy, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, especially the Creature from the Black Lagoon, they all just basically had, I'm a handsome man, and the woman that I love is being attacked by this monster. And here it's, first off, the one thing that I gotta give is, Larry is not necessarily handsome, man.
Just like very average.
He's kind of like, I mean, he's in decent shape, especially for 1940s where you couldn't really tell if someone was fat or muscular. You know, when they had that exact like, just stout, stocky body type. As like, if you took that shirt off, I don't know what I'm going to see underneath there. But yeah, so yeah, Larry, he's not the typical leading man of these films, because if you look at like the leading man in like, you know, The Creature, The Mummy, all these other ones, they are far more like adventurous, muscular, rugged men. Larry, he is stockier. He is more of like average looking, which I like that because it does make him seem, because we are supposed to be feeling like the pressure of the psychological situation that he's in. We don't have to worry about him combating a monster. It is more of a mind game. So making him more of an average man definitely plays into that a lot more. It just makes that far more effective. But the other thing is that makes it different, as I said, is the fact that he doesn't have to go and rescue a girl. It's more of just a romantic story. And when you look at this, when I think about, okay, it was kind of creepy there at the beginning how he was trying to pick her up. And the whole, like, she's already with someone, man. Like, she doesn't want anything to do with you. Yeah, it was kind of creepy at first. But when you get into the fact that, no, this is actually supposed to be like a love story in here, you rarely see that in those old 1940s monster movies because they never had to worry about, like, sorry. Let me restructure, reboot. Here we go. The question about will they, won't they hook up, it was never a question back then. It was, they have hooked up, now man has to protect woman. Here, there actually is, like I said, it's all about the psychological stuff and making this an actual love story where he's tormented by the situation that he's in and they can't be with her. It makes this way more mature and way smarter than a lot of the other 1940s monster films. There's a lot that I really appreciate about this movie, watching it now as an adult. I'm trying to think of anything else I really want to add in here, but I mean, this is only an hour and 10 minutes, and it's short.
Yeah, like there were a lot of movies were a lot shorter back then.
They were, and I will say the whole Wolfman thing does not really even happen until more than halfway through the film. And I know that I've talked about pacing a lot throughout Thorgiween. I always talk about pacing, but it absolutely works here. It absolutely works as a slow burn. And it is, and the interesting thing is, as I said, it's the psychological situation. It is the torment that he's going through. And there's a lot of really good scenes with that. Like there's the scene where he goes into a church because someone was murdered. He's going to the funeral and everybody just shuts up and turns and looks at him there. Again, that is a great scene. And it's the type of scene that you didn't really get in monster films where you get something just very serious about that and just the audience kind of all turning on the protagonist. Thank you. This is our first review of the day, so I'm still like warming up here a little bit, everyone. But yeah, I really did enjoy this, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to go back and rewatch this with adult eyes, and not just as a teenager going like, "Where's the big monster?" But yeah, that's it. That is our first day of Werewolf Week. Come back tomorrow when we're gonna review something much dumber. I don't even know what it is, but I can guarantee it's dumber. And come back all this week as we were talking about werewolf films. But we're also going to be talking about a couple of other things. There's a couple of other things that, like I said, this week was originally just going to be us reviewing whatever we wanted to review. So I did have a couple of other things lined up that are topical, and I definitely wanted to get through them. So we will be talking about those as well this week. So yeah, you got a jam-packed final week of Thorgiween coming up, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And as always, happy Halloween.
Bye.